All right, Flowmies, this is Gabe, and we are here with the Flowmie Roundtable on this edition of the ITF podcast. We're so glad that you guys joined us, and we got everyone here assembled. So we're gonna do a bunch of things. We're gonna talk about a year in review. We're gonna talk about the origins of the group. We're gonna talk about some of the activities that we've done. We look forward to having all the input. But how you guys all doing?
Awesome.
Terrific, man. How are you?
Doing good. All right. Well, I thought we would start off just by talking about the origins of the group, because we have so many new members now. I don't think everyone knows how we got started. The founder of the group was actually Craig Hensel. He started on his own, and I think was Cody Middleton the only other mod besides Craig when he started it.
Yeah, I think
Actually,
so.
Cody, he kind of came in around the same time that we all did. And when Craig decided he wanted to back away, Cody knew the most about computers, so he kind of he did the mod work, right from the beginning.
Yeah, so Cody was like the only one. He was like going crazy. Now, I had no intention of ever wanting to be a mod of any group, because being a mod stinks. It's just so much work. It's thankless. And it's from my experience with other groups, I was like, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. But poor Cody was just desperate, and he put out this plea. And so it was me, it was Kevin, it was Sarah. You weren't at first, right? And I think you came in a little bit later, Anthony, right?
I was one of the first 5 members in the group.
You were.
Refused mod duties because you guys had asked, and I was kind of like, not it at the time.
Yeah, I remember. And then we just kept kind of dragging you into stuff, and then finally we're just like, he just needs to be a mod. we just keep using him. So we drafted you to be a mod, and so I guess that was it, right? Cody, Kevin, Sarah, and myself at the beginning, and then shortly thereafter, Anthony joined us, right? So just 5 of us.
And then it was Phebe shortly after that.
Yeah. So and Phebe joined because every time Sarah, we had a video conference, Phebe just sat in, and we're like, he's making decisions too. We might as well just make him a mod, get another one. So then he joined shortly after. So that was kind of the original crew. And then Cody ended up getting busy with his business, so he left. And then we thought, well, let's bring some more. So then Nando came in, and then after that, Anthony left for a little while, and we were just the group had just started getting really active, and we thought we needed some help. So that's when we pulled in Joel and Kory. They joined us, and then Anthony came back, which we were super happy about to have him back. And so that's how we all came about to be mods. It was kind of one of those things where everything fell into place. The thing that I think was so cool about this particular group is none of us knew each other, right? I mean, I didn't know any of you guys. Did you guys know each other?
Just as acquaintances, talking, other groups. But when kind of, like you said, when Craig kind of sent out the call, hey, I want to try something a little different, we were kind of some of the first people he messaged, and I think we all jumped on it. We liked what he kind of proposed.
And it is just so shocking at how quickly we gelled together as a team. It was like the A team. Like at first we just like everyone had everything had what they did, and it's just like we all just did it, and there was like no direction. There was just everyone was like, hey, I can handle that. All right, we'll do that. And it was just such an organic thing for the growth of the group at the beginning, that it's just so rare for something like that to happen. And I expected to join just until people came back, either Craig came back or some others joined, and then I was going to leave. But I just had so much fun. I decided to stay, and I'm glad everybody else decided to stay as well. Yep. So
we all instantly just became friends with each other, and not just like sort of acquaintance or online friends. We all became really, really good friends. I feel like everyone in the group, there have been times where we've had sad or scary moments in our business, and y'all are the first people we turn to. And we know that you're there for us, and we know that, I hope they all know we're there for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin, let's start with, sorry.
Well, it's kind of cool too, because even though most of us have never met each other, right after I did join ITF, went to the IWCA convention in Georgia, and I got to meet you. I got to meet Nando, got to meet Kevin, got to meet Sarah and Phebe. Haven't met Anthony yet or Kory, but I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, maybe not this next convention, but maybe another one down the road.
2021. It's going to be our year.
Yep. But Kevin, why don't you share how you came in, what your thoughts were when you were first asked to be a mod, and then like kind of your experience with the whole process.
Well, like everybody else, you know, I was in several other groups. My first experience when I joined Pro Window, not to bash them at all, but it was negative. I think the first post I ever made, somebody jumped all over me on something, you know. So you kind of just learn to expect that. And then it was par for the course then after a while. But then to have something that was more positive and really not just centered around window cleaning itself, but all of the things that go along with that, running a business, your family, how they're affected by what you're doing, the community, all those other things involved in it. It seemed like a really good idea. And, you know, I was like, well, you know, I suppose I have a little bit of time and let's see what happens. And then as the positivity grew and not having to look at sales pitches every day, not having to see and hear people bashing each other and doing all that kind of stuff, it was kind of refreshing. And then I just had slowly started gravitating to where that was a lot of what I was doing, only what I was doing. So I still do stuff with the other groups now too, but very much more limited. And obviously with being an admin in this group, it takes more time, but that's, you know, the benefits have far outweighed the time spent. So that's just been, again, it's kind of like a safe haven, a refreshing place to be where, you know, you could post anything and you're not going to get beat up for it, or nobody's going to throw you into the bus. And people ask a lot of questions and get a lot of good answers no matter what the question is. So that's part of it that I really like, because I love
was one of the hardest things about that other group, the pro window cleaning group. You had to sift through so much garbage to actually get the information. I mean, you're going through trolls, you're going through people that maybe are inexperienced, but they act like they're a master technician and their way's the only way. I mean, there's so much stuff to sift through in that group. I left that group, I think, actually before joining this group. It just got to be, it was too much to deal with. It was, I mean, there was I learned some good things in there, but like I said, you just had to figure out who you could trust and who you could rely. And when you see someone's name pop up in the comments, like, you have to know like which guy to read the comment and then which ones to just completely skip over, because it's just gonna drive you nuts.
And just, I mean, it wasn't just a pro window clean group. I think that's just kind of a general thing in most service industry groups. You know, I mean, you've got business owners, they're very independent minded, very confident in their ability, sometimes overconfident, like Kory mentioned. And, you know, you've got a bunch of kind of A-type personalities in one forum. I think that's just a common thing. So I think that shows how special ITF is that we can get those professionals. And you know, first of all, it attracts the people who are looking for the positivity. But even the ones who maybe are okay in the other groups, in that atmosphere, I think it's really cool to see how they respect the guidelines in this group. You know, they may be in another group and they're, you know, kind of going in and getting in with the trolls and doing stuff, but then they come to ours and they respect the guidelines of what the group is. And, you know, the ones who can or get frustrated, they just leave. And that's cool. Yeah. You know, they don't have to be a part. We're not saying we're the only group out there but I just think that's what's kind of unique about it is
one of the main differences between like Pro Windows and Into the Flow is Pro Windows is an open group. Anybody can join, and Into the Flow, there is it's not like a thorough vetting process, but like you said, you do have to agree to the rules of conduct.
Yeah. But
when you come in, you recognize the culture. There's a culture in this group, and it started at the top with you guys. And it just, the most recent situation with the GoFundMe for Brooke and Dream Clean, that was like phenomenal to watch. Yeah. I mean, that's the culture of the group. It's just positivity. And I mean, I'm still just totally blown away by that came together that fast. But I mean, it's all a testament to the culture you guys have built here. And there's nothing else like it. I mean, I'm a member of a few other groups, and I'll be honest, every once in a while, if I want to like cut loose a little bit and have a little fun, I'll go over there and post something a little just to kind of get a reaction and get a little laugh, even if it's just entertaining myself.
Blow off some steam, right?
I can't help it. I'm a full-blown smart aleck. I have some things to say every now and then, but kind of like what you guys mentioned, you know, Joel, when you said this isn't an open group so much as some of the other professional groups. I always kind of thought when this group was first starting that the culture that we had was because we had maybe a dozen members at a point, you know, and I always just kind of took it, well, we're going to have some of those same headaches when we do get, you know, 100, 200, 400, 500 members, but it never showed up. Things just kind of kept going in that direction. And, you know, like you said, we get a couple people every now and then that would try to raise a stink, and we handled it, and they moved on. They got bored and they moved on. And just the fact that as this group grows, the culture doesn't change is really what's kind of astounding to me.
Yeah. Let me just bring in some stats here real quick, just as we're talking about that subject. So right now we have 544 members as of today, as the taping of this. But this is amazing. 510 are active. Now, in most groups, they'll have like, you know, 1,000 members, 1,500 members, even, I mean, there's some that are huge, they're like 10,000 members, but a small percentage are active. I mean, we've got we've got 90%, more than 90% of our members actually post and comment and reply and, you know, give, likes and other reactions. I mean, I think that's when, you know, when Kory was mentioning, and Anthony had a really cool post just sharing how amazing the response was. It's like, that's not us, right? That's the group. The group reacted to that. And that's because it's full of people who are active, who believe in it, and just the idea of helping out each other when we're going through tough times. And you know, like I said, how could we plan that? We can't. It's just so organic in the way it grew that way, and it's just the like-minded individuals come together, and that's what naturally happens, right? The cream rises to the top, and then things get done. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Me personally, as a woman, you know, I was a part of a few different groups too, and like you were saying, Gabe, there's actually a lot of great things about the Pro Window Cleaning Group. I don't want to bash them too much because they do offer a lot.
Yes, they do.
And as do a lot of these other groups too. I personally felt like as a woman, I wasn't accepted in a lot of groups because they were very male heavy, and the attitude was, you can't possibly know what you're talking about because you're a girl. And it was pretty frustrating sometimes. And, you know, just sometimes you see other people put down and stuff. And I'm not talking about one exclusive group or anything, but it would be, I would say something or bring something up and say, hey, you know, you shouldn't say those types of things to people or to another woman or whatever it may be. And the responses I would get in some of these groups, you know, they'd call me like a fat, ugly B word or whatever. Like, it was bad. And so I was really excited about being an admin in ITF because I felt like it was a way to help represent that really strong female voice that does exist in our industry. And we have a lot of really awesome women in our group as a result that feel comfortable being there for that reason. And I think that is such an amazing thing. You know, we have Brooke, Carrie, myself, there's so many of us now, and it's just a beautiful thing. So thanks guys for helping to create that kind of welcoming culture where everyone can feel welcome.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. Well, why don't you and Phebe share your experience of when you were asked to be a mod and then just doing the work?
I don't think it was that hard, actually. I don't think we did a lot of work in the beginning.
Well, you maybe not.
I was like, maybe you should ask Sarah.
I just said it. I just like to take and post pictures, and that's it. And then, you know, like, we can make sure it's positive, and that's about the extent of my involvement.
I think it was right after Craig left and Cody was on his own, and there was this sense of there's finally somewhere for all of us to be, and this desperation inside to be like, there's something special and we can't let it die. little flickering light that we have to somehow cultivate and grow. And so I think one of the first things we did is we had this group meeting. There was 4 or 5 of us, and we just talked about what are the bylaws going to be? What are what are we going to allow? What are we not going to allow? Where do we see this going? And I think that meeting was such a crucial thing because it helped to guide us in the direction we wanted to go. And then after that, as we met more and more, as you all don't know this, the rest of the group, but us mods, we talk like every day. Mm-hmm. Every day. Even if it's just a look what I'm having for dinner, or check out my house, I just put up the lights, or whatever it might be. And it's such a blessing to have that, and then also to help foster that for the group too.
Awesome. Anthony, why don't you're next. Why don't you share your experience?
Oh boy. Well, it started, like we said earlier, with a mutual friendship between a lot of the core members of the group. And when Craig sent a message, I think our mod chat actually originated from the very first group message that he sent saying, hey, I want to start this group. Do you guys want to come? And it was just a few of us on there, and we just kind of continued. I think that's where the relationship started. And I do remember, it was very new when Craig decided, hey, I'm going to, step away. So we were kind of like, do we keep going? Do we not? Like Sarah mentioned, we all saw something, I think, worth working on. And I think that's why it went as well as it did. You mentioned kind of falling into place as the A team. I think all of that happened because at that point we were excited about this. We didn't really see it as work at first. And I think, we all had a very similar mind, a similar goal. We all wanted the same thing for the group. And I remember there were times when in our initial group chats, we're talking about, maybe doing some fundraising or doing this. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a nice thought, but I never thought we'd be able to accomplish this. It always kind of seemed like a pipe dream. But then, like I said, 10 members turned into 20, turned into 30. We actually kept at it. And that's what you guys kind of motivated with me with the fact that you kept doing this. I've always wanted to do better and do more for people and to pay forward. But, I'm still kind of at an early point with my business. Being around you guys just kind of inspired me to see the next step, and not just, with the success of a company, but with the heart, just heart for service. That's what this all comes from. That's why we're all in the service industry, and that's why we're all in this group. But, as far as the work goes, I don't think we all saw it as that. We saw it as kind of chatting with our buddies at the end of the day, rather than, okay, we need to plan out what we're going to do for posts and podcasts and things like that. It never really felt like work.
I thought of it as work when he first asked me. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. But I think Sarah said the same. I think she hit on the nail. I just was like, well, you know what? This is kind of a special thing. Even at the beginning, even it had been fully fleshed out, and I was like, well, I don't want this to go away. It's kind of finally a place that I feel comfortable in. So I'll help out until I'm not needed anymore, and then here I still am.
Now you pretty much lead the group too. So you got
no, don't put that on me. No, I'm an organizer. That's my skill. That's my part of the A team. I like to organize stuff, but that's the extent of what I do.
We'll call it the organizer from here.
But actually, why don't you share your experience, Fernando? Since you kind of came in a little later, so you came in when we were kind of already established a little bit.
Yeah, you guys were established already, and I think I enjoyed being when you guys requested me to come in. I like leading. I like teaching. I like communicating with people, especially with the newer guys. Because they have like the most interesting questions, and I feel like, hey, I can help you guys out a lot there. To me, it wasn't a big I didn't think it was like a big responsibility, because I'm used to that type of work, where, hey, I'm leading people, I'm teaching people, I'm educating people. So for me, it was a privilege to be able to join it and to come across. I think I've met probably half of you guys at the last convention. I still got to meet Kory and Anthony. I don't think I met you guys on the last one, but this is an awesome group, man. Every single thing that this group does, it's always mind blowing how amazing things can get done and like that without even thinking about it. That's the thing that I like, you know. And I'm less active in other groups now. You know, eventually I do go in there, and when I see somebody who's really having a hard time getting an answer, you know, I do chime in and provide my information. Then they send me private messages. I'm like, hey, you know, if you want to send a private message, feel free. I reply when I'm available, because right now we're just really busy. But it was very, very I was grateful to be invited to this group, and to this day, I can't complain. I mean, it's awesome to be a part of it.
And just so everybody knows, when we're talking in the mod chat, then Judge Nando chimes in when we need something, and he'll come on the mod chat. And Judge Nando.
It is. I sentence people. So no,
well, Nando always appreciates my jokes, so I appreciate him.
Oh yeah, I can laugh. I don't take any negativity. You know, I've always, you know, that's how I structure myself growing up. Not paying attention to negativity, not, you know, letting negativity bring me down, even though it can get frustrating sometimes, but it takes a lot to get under my skin. And that's just, you know, who I built myself to be, just, you know, because, you know, some people can be very easy to bring someone down just with the simple words. And I laugh at everything. No matter what you tell me, I'm going to laugh at it, even if it's not funny.
All right, Joel, what's your story?
Might have been a dig at you, Anthony. He said he laughs at everything, even if it's not funny.
Anthony has some jokes, man. He has some
jokes there. Not every time Babe Ruth stepped to the plate, he hit a home run. But, you know, that's enough of them. That's the point.
Yeah. You make some funny comments too, man. I enjoy everything I listen on here, man. I'm like, you know, we always need that laugh at the end of the day. That's why when we're behind closed doors talking in the mod chat, you know, this is where we unwind, and before we're gonna go do our home duties, and we exchange a little bit of information, and we laugh, and then, all right, cool, my day is done. I forgot about what happened earlier today. Now let me continue my evening. So that's the fun part.
All right, Joel, your turn, buddy.
Well, this is the end of our third year in business, and so when I first started the business with my wife, we joined like Pro Windows and trying to soak up this education, because I've been around the industry my entire life, but I almost basically never used Facebook. And then, you know, there's this Facebook group, and I start getting on it and looking, and then not too long into us running our business, we had some you know, you don't know what you don't know, you know? So like I had been doing it for like, you know, over 10 years professionally, but then I had like accounts asking questions, people giving me opportunities, and I just didn't really know what to do. And I had people I could ask that I actually like knew, like my dad had a business, and then my old boss back in Hawaii, I could ask him, but it's just really hard to get a hold of them because they both had time changes, because they're both back in Hawaii. And sometimes you just really want to know the answer. So like I asked questions on Pro Windows, like when we first started and had these opportunities come up. And some of the best answers that I got were from Kevin. And Kevin, like, you know, just that kind of into the flow spirit, like reached out to me, and he's like, hey man, like, you know, if you got questions about X, Y, or Z, you could just DM me. And Kevin probably doesn't even remember it, because it was like, I mean, it was like 3 years ago. It was like I had like a janitorial contract come up, and I was like, man, this is like huge. I only do Windows. I don't know, but this is a major opportunity. And Kevin's like, if you want to do it, here's how you do it. And then after that, I had another opportunity come up, and I was like, dude, this is like, I've only ever bid like storefronts. How do I bid buildings like this? And Kevin's like, if you want to do it, this is how you do it. I was like, okay, cool. And then like, basically like that. And then I think at one point I did reach out to Fernando too. I mean, I think there's like a photo my wife took of me, and I'm like on the phone, I'm sitting there just like contemplating everything Fernando's saying. And so that's how I first came into contact with some of the mods from Into the Flow. And it's kind of interesting about like Facebook groups and Pro Windows and all that is like over 10 years ago, my dad had started a Facebook group and I didn't really think anything about it. And he was constantly on it, constantly messing with it and tweaking it. And he was the only mod of that Facebook group. But then eventually he sold it and moved on. And that Facebook group was Pro Windows. And, you know, it's just kind of like a weird, you know, it's like come around thing again, you know. And it's interesting because kind of the way my dad ran it when he was like the only one like micromanaging it is just how Into the Flow naturally works, you know, with people respecting each other and not too much, you know, stupid talk about, you know, like use razor blades this way. And it's like, obviously like trying to get people to scratch glass, like stupid stuff like that. So it's just been kind of nice. So it's kind of like Sarah had mentioned in different Facebook groups, professional groups, the respect for women is not always where it should be at. And there was a post on Pro Windows a while back that was just like somebody, you know, they put something up that was offensive, and it was offensive to me and my wife. And it was just like really bad. Mm-hmm. And shortly after that, I got invited to Into the Flow. And I don't know, it may have been Kevin that invited me, or it may have been Gabe, but it was like a breath of fresh air just because the positivity. But so I've been a member of Into the Flow, and I competed in a essay contest with some other people. And I didn't win the essay contest. Another Flowmie did, but the IWCA, it was for an IWCA sponsorship program. And they ended up enjoying everyone's essay. So I ended up getting a membership to IWCA, even though I didn't win. It's kind of funny. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say that was, I mean, I think that's what people need to understand too. You know, they reached out to us about when we talked about the proposition of doing an essay contest, and they wanted to read the essays. So when they decided to give it to everybody, I mean, that was the board members putting the money out of their own pocket. You know, it's not like they just run an organization like, okay, we've got extra memberships, we'll just, you know, press a button and now they got a member. They were the ones who paid for the membership. They paid the money back into the IWCA to be able to give to everyone who wrote the essay contest. So again, I just think, you know, kindness begets kindness, you know, and consideration when you show towards one person or to an organization, it's returned in that way. And I think that's why we've been able to latch on with IWCA so easily, because it's kind of a mutual goal, you know, to help others, to help people in the industry, and to help people get to where they need to be, you know, to have a healthy business.
IWCA, I think that they believe that when they elevate other people in the industry, it elevates everybody. And they're also all about safety, which is something I you know, I'm really interested in for obvious reasons, because, you know, my family had a tragedy. My dad got hurt cleaning windows, so it's still super important to me. But at the IWCA convention, I got to meet most of y'all in the mod group. And I don't know, a few months later, into the COVID stuff, Gabe and Sarah reached out and invited me to be a mod, which was like crazy to me, like mind blowing. Like, really? Like, what do I have to offer? You know, like, you guys are like, I really respect you guys. And I was like, what in the world did I do to deserve this?
We forgot to tell you, Joel, this was an elaborate prank. We're going to let you go now.
Oh, that's what this, you're not even recording this session.
We're not even recording it. This is just, we're finally going to tell you you're not really a mod. We're letting you go.
Oh, okay. But,
gotcha.
But kind of like Anthony, like when you guys asked me to be a mod, not only was I skeptical of what I could bring to the table, I didn't know if I could handle the responsibility. So I was like, kind of like really, like you guys, like we did like an interview, and I was asking you guys like, what's all involved? Like, what do you expect? And basically, just as far as the work goes, there's a whole lot of just reviewing posts and making sure that in the threads that the rules are being respected, and it's not like I'm like a fountain of wisdom. It's just mainly I'm just looking for people just being goofy.
We're basically stewards of the environment that we're trying to cultivate into the flow, and I think that's what drew us all to the ITF page, and just getting tired of the negativity on other groups, and then just saying, you know what, I don't really have time for this anymore. I really want to be part of something that is more positive. I want to contribute positive content. I want to create an environment that also contributes positive content. So for me, my role has mainly been kind of like what you're saying. Like, I'm a little bit of a policeman in posts, making sure they're staying positive, and because we want to make sure that everyone that in the group can still enjoy that positive contributing environment.
But it's not just negativity from window cleaning groups. It's negativity in general. You can get on any type of social media, and the first thing you see is something negative, and it can really drag you down. And I think that's one of the nice things. First thing I do when I get up in the morning, get myself woke up, and I'll go and see what's going on ITF. And it's not just because of being an admin, but there's somebody might need some help. There's something positive that's going on. So it's a lot easier to start your day or continue to stay in a positive frame of mind when you have that positive atmosphere to be a part of, and then it just becomes contagious.
And that's another thing too.
Is want to see. Go ahead, Joel.
Well, part of the responsibility of being an admin is not just to police, but like Kevin said, to make yourself available to assist people when they have either questions or concerns. Because I'm not always able to answer everything, but if I see something where I can jump in and I know I can help, then it's kind of the obligation of the mod to do that, because it does promote positivity.
Right.
And that's another thing about other groups that I found frustrating at times, where you saw someone looking like legitimately seeking advice, and you're trying to give, like, maybe I don't know everything, but if I feel like I know something, I'll comment. And then your comment gets drowned out by trolls or someone setting them up for failure or giving them bad advice. And then it's just frustrating to see the way, and like Kevin said, it's not just window cleaning groups. You look at some of these people that troll in the window cleaning groups, I guarantee their personal page, like if you see the interactions they have with other people, it's the same kind of garbage. It's just the way they are. But it's just so frustrating that you see that when someone's legitimately asking for help and you see them just getting bad advice or just getting someone that's being negative to them, and you're like trying to put up this nice comment to try to help them, and then they don't even acknowledge it because they don't see it, because they're sucked up by the negativity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that quite a bit of people kind of getting tired. They make a post asking a question, and then by the end of it, it's like they don't want to hear anything anymore. They're done.
No, you're discouraged from ever posting again in something like that, because it's just a sea of garbage that you have to sort through. And I was so fortunate I got linked up with Kevin too. That's how I got into this group. But I remember posting something on another page about, it was my first year using a water-fed pole, and I was having some issues with spotting on the glass, and I couldn't figure out extra scrubbing, extra rinsing. I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. I posted a question about it, and luckily I was patient enough to kind of sift through, and I had kind of followed enough of the page long enough to know that a certain few guys I could trust what they were going to say, and I could read and they're going to give me good advice. But that's how I got linked up with Kevin. And same experience that Joel had. He ended up sending me a direct message, answering the questions, explaining everything step by step, very clear. And then, a few people, I remember interacting with Anthony on that page as well, and recognizing him pretty early on. He was seasoned window cleaner. He knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was doing. So, of all the garbage, it was probably 100 to 1 of people who I didn't want to know anything about. I didn't want to interact with them. And then for every 100 people, it was one that actually, I knew I could listen to them. I knew I could trust them. And when they commented on something, I would actually engage with it and read it. But it's so frustrating to deal with that on another page, and it's so fortunate to not have to deal with that anymore.
It's also nice to know who some of the technical professionals are. Like Joel was hinting at earlier, we're not just policing for negativity. We're also like, hey, this person's asking this question, and Anthony Padlow happens to be well versed in this area. Check out Anthony. Give him a PM or whatever. He's good at this. And then Kevin Hargis with setting up the Bill and Go system, and Gabriel Gutierrez, and the variety of different expertise that we bring to the table. It's nice to facilitate connections as well.
Yeah, we're always tagging each other in posts like, oh, talk to this person. Talk to that person.
Yeah, that's cool. We don't have a shortage of people we can tag for any specific problem. That's what's kind of cool about it. But
and it's
Kory,
not just behind with the mods. It's also that's starting to grow in the group itself. Yeah. We start relying on other members that have expertise. And like Chris Virgin, for example, and his solar panels like that. That's a big impact that we're bringing in here. And anything has to do with that, like, oh, you know what? I know a little bit, but not as much as he does, because he's more 100% on solar panels. So that's a very good vibe we're sending out there.
So Kory, you're next, man. Why don't you share your experience?
I thought I just did.
Yeah, you kind of did. but about being a mod specifically.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's just over a year now that I've been a member of the group. Like I said, it was Kevin that brought me in, and the timing was really good because, like I said, I was just kind of getting tired of the scene. I was only in one other window cleaning group, and I was kind of getting tired of. I mean, granted, I did learn some things there, but I was getting tired of the atmosphere. So I was considering getting out and stepping away from the group, and I'm not sure if I actually did step away from that before joining here or not, but I had already made a connection with Kevin in the messenger back and forth. If I had a question, it just got to a point I wasn't even going to post it. I just wanted I would ask him. And when he invited me to the group, it was just such a pleasant surprise to come in to a much better culture. I'm just at a loss for words what to say. This group has really changed not only my window cleaning life. I'm learning a lot more. I learned everything the hard way for the most part. I worked for another person for about 4 or 5 years, and then I thought I knew everything, and I was like, I'm going out on my own. I'm going to do this. And it was rough. I mean, a lot of things you learn the hard way, and it takes a lot of perseverance to kind of make it through learning the hard way. But I'm stubborn. I'm an extremely stubborn and prideful person, so I was never going to quit. But having a resource like this now, where I run into a situation or I have a question, just being able to reach out and know that I'm going to get the right answer or get steered in the right direction. I'm just so fortunate to be included in this. And I love the group. I love all you guys. You're all good human beings. So it's nice to be surrounded by people that not only care about window cleaning, but are actually good human beings and want to help other people. And I think Anthony posted this in, I don't know if it was on Into the Flow or on his personal page yesterday, but it just kind of really pushes you to even step your game up even more and just continue being a better person and what you can do every day to not only get better professionally, but just be a better human.
That's where it starts.
I mean, the world could honestly use more a group like this. The whole world could use it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Positivity, honestly, isn't something that, I came naturally equipped with. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. I have something I have to work at. So people like this, like you're saying, Kory, this has helped me grow, not just as a window cleaner or a business owner, but just as a person in general. I have improved. I feel like I have more peace in my life just from knowing that I have helped other people and being around people that it's just second nature to them to be positive and to look, to take the high road. It's inspiring. And, I guess when I started, it was kind of a fake it till you make it kind of situation. This is the person I want to be, kind of like what I was going to talk about earlier. You want to be what you want to see. Sometimes, Kevin mentioned getting online and seeing all this negative stuff. It gets to a point where you have to kind of stop complaining about your neighbor's yard and take care of your own leaves And so that's kind of where I was, you know, personally, so to speak. And that's why I like this group, because this gives me a chance to not only get good examples from my fellow admins and from the many members in the group who have the same sentiment that we do, but, you know, I can actually practice this. When I'm tested, I can be snarky. I'm not the one to shy away from confrontation, but
that's your middle name, isn't it, Anthony? Snarky?
Pretty much, yes, yes. But you know, the Into the Flow is kind of like the library. We all respect the room, you know. We keep it nice for the other guests. We clean up our own messes, and you know that's what I like about this. I can go be a jerk somewhere else. There's probably some political post I can find to argue with someone if I really wanted to. I have no desire. You know, most people I think have no desire to interrupt the flow that we have here. I really believe that.
We got a good flow.
Yep. I just want to read an experience. We have a couple actually that I'm going to share. I'm sure we are familiar if we're in the group of the different times people will make a post and comments about how the group's helped them or affected them or their view on it, and that's always really encouraging. But there was a couple that stuck out to me. One, member James Smith. You know, we know James. He's been in the group for quite a while. This was an older post. This was back in 2019, but I thought it was just kind of a nice kind of spotlight on what the group does for people. He says, first, a little about me. I worked nearly 8 years as an overnight manager for $1 billion convenience store chain in the Midwest. Quick trip if you're curious. I worked my way up to the top 3% of the Texas division and was refused promotion multiple times for reasons that were never explained to me. Suffice it to say that 8 years of constant stress, anxiety, and lack of sleep were not kind to me. Every time I got sick, it would last for weeks, and it would turn into borderline pneumonia. My lowest weight while working for QT was at 105 pounds, and he's 5'10".
Wow.
My doctor literally told me that I had to quit or the stress would kill me. Hence my foray into the wonderful world of window cleaning. He says, I'm doing much better now. I'm happier, healthier. I haven't been sick in months, and I'm now the heaviest I've ever been at 145 pounds, which is still pretty light. Mm-hmm. He says, but I'm in a much better place in my life now, even though I'm making considerably less money, and it's in a large part due to this amazing community of window cleaners. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced, a group of people willing to teach and be taught, and it has set an example for me that the kind of business leader, husband, and father that I want to be. So thank you. You're all goofs, but I couldn't be in better company. And I thought that was a really touching sentiment, you know, that it just shows we're just kind of helping people get out of bad situations and make a positive way for themselves, you know. I thought that was pretty cool. The other one was by James Riley, who's also a longtime member and a regular active member. He says, I always find this comforting. No, I'm not the first and definitely not the last to have a specific issue in any phase of my life. He says, why? Because of positive groups like this I can seek advice and not feel so alone and help to build each other up in this sort of brotherhood. Thanks to all in this group for being a mentor to me and to one another. So, you know, that's really our goal. You know, when we set out to do this was to help to view the people here not just as a group that we can advertise to, not just a group in which we can get information from and then, you know, use it for our own benefit, but that we can share not just technical info but real life info, you know, to try and deal. We're all business owners. We've all been under stress. We've all wondered if we're going to be able to make it to the next week, if we're going to pay our mortgage, you know, at those points in our life, and yet we've made it. So we can share the tips and the encouragement to others who might be in that spot, you know, that we weren't once in. And I just think that's kind of a special place that we have, you know, and that we've been able to watch grow organically, like I mentioned, you know.
And nobody gets it like each other do. Like I can tell my parents about kind of what we're going through, or my friends, but none of them understand it. They don't get it because they're not in this world. And we can talk to each other about these things, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly how I'm feeling because you're going through the exact same thing too. And it's such a beautiful thing to know that we're all in this together. and that we can relate to each other in that way.
Also, I think the ITF podcast is pretty awesome. I really like how it's, because there's other interview platforms, but almost always it's like multimillionaire CEOs that grew their service industry business. Like, we have done some interviews like that, but we've also interviewed like startups, like, you know, they're like me, like, you know, starting out just new, longtime people from like different aspects. And we've interviewed a number of female window cleaners and also females that own the business. And it's just, this has been like, the ITF podcast has been like awesome. I love the next episode, waiting for it. I'm not waiting for it, but listening to it.
Excellent. All right, so we had some activities that happened this year. We did a lot actually, but we're going to just hit on a few that were just outstanding. So, Phebe, you want to take the lead on the IWCA convention?
So I don't have the most information when it comes to explaining a whole lot about the organization. A few things were touched on already, but you know, we work closely with that group. We share one of the missions of IWCA is safety. We are, you know, I don't know if I should include this, but it's basically, I've been working with Michael Draper to see if we can't try to bring more of a regular safety presence to the ITF group, where we'll be doing hopefully some toolbox topics and addressing some of the specific challenges that our industry faces in terms of getting up on the roof, cleaning gutters, you know, high work like that.
And then we try to actually help grow the IWCA and their membership, because they, for a little while, had a huge slump in numbers that went down a lot. And I think they've had a lot of changes with modern technology and everything else, and things kind of progressing. And so I think they saw us as having a lot of that same kind of mission that they have, an altruistic mission that pushes safety and elevates the industry as a whole. And so they have saying, hey, we'd like to work with y'all a little bit more. And so it was really neat to be able to help them push their membership. And we tried to promote it as much as we could, because we saw that common good that we were both lined up with. And what a lot of people don't know about IWCA is that it is a nonprofit. And the board members and all these people who work in it, they own their own businesses. They're not getting paid for that stuff. They're doing that kind of like we're admins. No one's paying us to be an admin. They're just doing it because it's what they feel the right thing is to do.
Wait, Kevin has been telling me my check is in the mail.
Thanks a lot, sir. I had to let that monkey out of the bag.
It'll get there.
And I don't know how many memberships we were able to increase for them, but I want to say at least a couple of dozen, if not more, of new members that we were able to bring for them last year, and just bring in awareness, because I know before we went to the IWCA convention, we just didn't know what it was. You know, like we knew a little bit what it was, but not in great detail. And then as we talked to our other admins more and stuff, we were like, oh wow, this is such a great resource. We just need to make more people aware of it.
And I'm actually not aware of the benefits that IWCA offers to its members. And I think this would be a great opportunity for any of y'all that have more of a recollection of all the different benefits. I'm continually amazed by the training resources that they offer. There's a lot of templates that are available to new window cleaners. Those are a couple that I can rattle off the top of my head. Do y'all have any of the other?
Well, if you're not using the toolbox talk information for your work, I mean, you're wasting a lot of time. I mean,
a lot of valuable information.
A lot of valuable. I mean, if you want to just have something to talk to your crew about Monday morning, you know, before they start the week, you just go to the website, you download it, and it's just really important information that you can share with them to help them be safe.
If I didn't have the toolbox talks, I wouldn't have anything to talk about with my workers.
And Campus IWCA there's a lot of valuable training tools there and certifications that are available too. And one of the things that I've always done in my business is to there's a lot of certifications that I have. And while I tell my customers that doesn't necessarily make me any better, it does mean that I've spent a lot of time in the classroom. I've spent a lot of time studying things, and I'm better for that. So that tends to set us apart from competition. So when you can go to your customers in a bid presentation package or in a sales brochure, and you can show that you have this certification, you have a glass cleaning certification, a restoration certification, a safety certification, you're OSHA certified, things like that really can make the biggest difference when it comes to bidding a job. When the customer's looking at 2 or 3 different bids, and yours is going to stand out. So there's a ton of that information in there that if you're not going to the website and really digging through all that stuff and looking and getting into some of those deeper things there, you're just missing out. And I think one of the things that really made the difference with the IWCA was when they got rid of the management company they were paying to basically run the organization. They all kind of looked at it and said, hey, this is going to be a lot of work, but I think we could do a better job and serve our members better by managing it ourselves. And it did, but it also created a lot more work. So then when we got kind of connected into the flow with them, we were kind of able to help a little bit with some of that load. And it, again, organically and naturally, it just progressed because we kind of have that same idea of positivity and safety and training and being more professional. So that's where I believe a lot of that help and just natural partnership worked out really well with the IWCA.
And another thing that I didn't know about until I went to the convention, which was awesome, by the way, really valuable. I really recommend everyone attend it. One of the things I did not know is that IWCA advocates for the industry on our behalf with with governmental agencies. OSHA had was ready to kind of get rid of the high-rise industry at some point. And they said, this is too dangerous. We cannot have people doing this kind of stuff. And it was people from IWCA who testified in front of Congress and OSHA and all this other stuff saying, no, we can do this safely. And here's how we do it. We just need to have the right regulations in place. But this is possible to do in a safe way and saved a huge part of our industry.
Right.
Continuing to advocate for us. And now, as far as I know, IWCA is gotten some amazing recognition from OSHA for its work that it's done, for the safety that it's pushed. And now it's seen as like a safety partner almost.
Yeah, they're a partner organization with OSHA, which is, it's outstanding.
So
thank God, because OSHA, you see the guys that come around to do the inspections from OSHA, and I mean, I appreciate what they do, but some of these guys look like they've never even attempted to climb a ladder, let alone like know how to do it safely. So at least they're getting a little bit of guidance now and shown by someone who knows what they're talking about, that things can be safe.
Another thing that's like cool about IWCA is they're really into protecting the industry from liability, specifically with glass manufacturers and different companies that assemble the windows together. I'm sure, we've all been on a new construction window clean, and there's stuff all over the glass. And within the last few years, I've noticed it's just standard now. A lot of the windows have a little piece of plastic film that you peel off, and that saves a whole lot with debris that's on the glass. And to the best of my knowledge, the IWCA actually had a hand in getting that to where that is kind of the standard now, and protecting the glass, so it protects you because you don't have to remove debris like that. So even talking with manufacturers and trying to get to the bottom of some of the issues that window cleaners come across.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, Joel. Is that you get so many people, you know, and you'll see it in different forums where they kind of bash the IWCA, or at least at the very least they'll say, oh, it's not really important, you don't really need to do it. And you don't, and nobody really needs to. I mean, I wasn't a member for years and I ran my business just fine. But like you said, they're doing things that we are benefiting from behind the scenes, without the fanfare, without the the attention being brought on them. And the least that we can do is recognize that and express appreciation, hopefully in the form of becoming a member and being part of that network that you can encourage and help others, and you know, be an advocate for safety. But in any event, at least just show respect and appreciation for the work that people who are not getting paid for this, who pay for their own flight tickets, you know, their own plane tickets to get to wherever they go out of their own pocket, and take time out of their own business to be able to do this, and they're working on our behalf tirelessly. You know,
another thing I want to give credit to the IWC also is the fact that I think one of their top missions is to teach us as business owners, to teach our guys to be safe on the job, be safe with everything that they're using. Because a lot of the brought up window cleaning business owners that are coming up, you know, they feel that, oh, I don't need to go there, but you don't know what you're going to learn till once you start practicing, you start learning it, you come back, you use that on your job sites, and it teaches you to be a better boss. It teaches you to be a better individual, be more mindful of, you know, be careful where you're at, what you're doing. It teaches you to promote safety, and overall safety is the number one thing that IWCA is all about.
So we got a few more things to talk about, so I want to get going so we don't run too much overtime. But just regards to the IWCA convention, we had a few cool things happen. So one, Flowmie won the world's fastest window cleaner. So shout out to Jeff Likes for coming through. Many of us were there. I mean, it was awesome. It was just like you were at an arena when he won, because he went up there and did, and I knew, I was in the audience. As soon as he started, I knew he was the winner. It's like, as long as he could just keep it up and not make too many mistakes, he just had one of those runs that just stood out. So that was really cool to have a Flowmie win that title. We also, if you remember, we did a GoFundMe. It was for a window cleaner out of Cleveland who had fallen from a 4-story building, and we held an auction there, and we did. We raised a lot of money for them. I think it was $3,500 that we raised to help him with some medical bills at that time, and then just all the networking. I think we had about 40 Flowmies there, right? I think we took a group picture of us, maybe not 40, maybe 30, but there was quite a bit of us that were there, and many of them were that was their first time at a convention. So I thought that was a good effort that we put forth. So then we had Jimmy Jones. We had a GoFundMe campaign. Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about that? You really carried a lot of weight on that GoFundMe. Really appreciated the hard work that you put on that, because it was a lot of organization.
Well, you know, I'm so glad that you're the main organizer, Gabe, because that was a lot of organization, but it was also a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that we were able to help Jimmy. If you all don't remember, Jimmy had a fall and broke both of his wrists, which, you know, made window cleaning all but impossible. And they had set up a GoFundMe. Their goal was $2,000. We exceeded that. $5,169. We had so many great vendors that chipped in and donated to the auction and to the drawings. We had so many wonderful people who actually donated to the GoFundMe, and that was fantastic. I also think it set us up for future fundraisers. We were able to create kind of a little website that we're going to be able to use in the future for that. And Jimmy's doing much better now. So grateful for that, and grateful for all of you all for all the work you put in. I did some of this, but it took everybody in the group to make it happen. Y'all contacted so many vendors, you know, and got so many things together to do it. So I'm always blown away by this group.
Yeah, and I just a shout out to the vendors. I wish I had thought enough to compile a list of everyone. But I just got to say, you know, for these companies that, you know, they're in it to make a profit. I mean, that's what they're there to sell stuff to us, and we all participate, you know, in buying from them. and they just come through every single time. Just so you guys know, as a group, we're like, well, should we ask them again? Should we ask if they want to donate? We just asked, and like they always come through, and it's like big prizes, I don't want to name them just because I'm afraid I'm going to forget some, and I'd hate to do that. But if you go into the back, into the Facebook group, and we have, find the old pages, they'll have them all listed. But just thank you guys all so much for being willing to do that and donate to help for causes, because you certainly don't have to. We appreciate that. And then finally, Kevin, you want to talk about the Brooke and Kane's, our assistance that we gave? That was just recent. I mean, we're in the midst of that right now. And I think that was pretty outstanding.
Yeah, we were all kind of shocked how quick everything came together. I think it was maybe Sarah that had in the mod chat had said, hey, did you see Brooke's post about what happened with their truck getting stolen? And it was in the morning, so I hadn't seen it yet. So I jumped on real quick, saw it. And of course we were all like, yeah, we got to figure something out. And I've talked to Brooke and Kane a few times, helping them with some of their setups for water fed and a few other things, giving them some advice on some stuff. So I messaged Brooke and I'm like, hey, basically what's going on? And of course, they're feeling really bad about things. And I said, don't worry, we'll figure something out. Well, we're on it. And we just started to make phone calls and sending messages out. We put the info out on ITF and everybody just jumped on it. Hey, I've got tools. I've got this. I got that. Reached out to Sean, and before I could even confirm anything with him, he had already jumped on the post and said, we're going to pay for all your Tucker stuff that you lost. So, it's just, and Randy at Window Magic, they had come in to get some basic stuff so they could at least try to do something. She comped their order, so it was just that kind of stuff and once we started getting going with it, everybody just kept going and chipping in. And I haven't looked. I think the last time I looked, the GoFundMe was up close to $2,500, and all their tools and probably then some have been replaced. So, it really goes to show how the positivity from the group, even if we're not all talking all the time, something happens and somebody needs something and everybody jumps. And it's like, what are we going to do to fix this problem for somebody?
Without hesitation.
Without hesitation. Yeah. I mean, everybody then I was getting messages, the first couple days, hey, what do we need? What do we got to do? Mr. Anonymous, I can't tell everybody his name. He told me he's got to remain Mr. Anonymous, called me and said, hey, I'll make some phone calls. I know this guy, and we'll get them what they need. And again, it just so quick and came together. And for them to be able to see how it was able to relieve such a negative feeling from them personally.
Right before Christmas too.
Yeah, and it's right.
The current stats. Oh, sorry. The current stats for the GoFundMe is at $3,450.
Nice.
Wow.
That's $450 over the 3,000.
The way they feel, but the rest of the group also knows that if anything, like you just have this comfortable feeling in this group that if anything, God forbid, some kind of tragedy happens to you with your business or you can't provide for your family. I mean, you see an example like that and you know that a group like this has your back. And yeah. I mean, granted, you don't want anything like that to happen, but if it does happen.
Yeah. And just
so right there to let you know that you have people that have your back.
Yeah. The majority of people who listen to this podcast are window cleaners, and then they know, but there are some that just like the group and they listen in. So just so that people understand, for a window cleaner, we keep pretty much all of our equipment in the truck, especially when we're just starting out. And this is specialized equipment. This is not something you can just go to Home Depot and buy. This is not stuff you can just, even sometimes can't even go to another town and buy. You have to order it online. You have to go to a specialty shop and get this equipment. And so when their truck, or I don't know if it was a van or a truck that they had, but it was a truck, got stolen, that's their livelihood. You know, they can't just go buy, they can buy some basic squeegee and scrub, but that's not the type of work that they do, you know? And so it wasn't just, oh, we lost this amount of money in equipment. This was, we lost our livelihood. So that shows why everyone jumped in. So, because we're just thinking ourselves, man, if my truck was stolen, all my equipment was gone, what would I do? How would I pay my mortgage? How would I buy groceries? It's gone. So,
well, and I think that was one of the great things that when Brooke commented on it, that she doesn't have to now worry about whether she's going to pay her rent or be able to replace the vehicle and get back to work. There was going to have to be a choice made. What are you going to pay for? And that they don't have to make that choice now. So again, to have that positive feeling and that sense of relief, even though something like that bad really happened, it's just amazing.
And for those that don't know who Brooke and Kane is, that is currently watching this video, there was a episode interview that I did with them not too long ago, where they share, you know, the moments from when they started to. It's an amazing story as the way how they got started, you know. And for them, I think that's, as mods, when I learned that, when I seen the post that this happened to them, I was like, I just interviewed these guys and I know what they went through to get started. So like, let me see what I can do to help these guys.
If you haven't listened, please listen to it. The risks that they took to start this business, and where Kane was, not only just, you know, where they were living, but mentally where he was, to pull out of it and to become reputable and to get this business going. I mean, it's just an amazing story. So, you know, for those of us who knew what they're doing, it was almost like, oh man, we got to help. They've come this far. This can't be where it ends. This can't be where their business stops, you know? So, it's just one of those cool stories that, you know, I mean, that's what ITF is about, right? I mean, that's in a nutshell, it's about people supporting others in any way that we can. And
and that's
really cool.
That's what, you know, when the messages Brooke and I were going back and forth with, every time I had an update, hey, we got this going, we got this is happening, she would say something like, oh, I just don't even know what to say. I can't believe, you know, everybody's doing this. And I'm like, it's just what we do. I mean, literally that was my response, was it's just what we do, you know. And to know you have a group, like Kory was saying, that you have a group of people like this, that if something happens, you know, have your back, that can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. It really stopped being a group to me at that point and really started to look like a community. And I mean, I felt that tightness in this group since the beginning, but just how quickly everything came together and without hesitation, like Nando mentioned, everyone jumped in, and it really did start to feel like, okay, this isn't the Into the Flow group anymore. This is the Into the Flow community. 2021 is going to be, I think we're all going to have a new understanding of each other. I think we're going to be wanting to repeat this. Hopefully we won't have too many stories like this anymore, but to know that we are all together on this, if we hear of another one, it's really awesome. It was a cool thing to witness.
Absolutely.
It was,
for sure,
it was phenomenal. So, I mean, it's just, you're without words when you see that come together. That's less than 24 hours. All the equipment was replaced. I mean, it's just it seems so, I mean, I thought I was the only one. I was like, am I the only one that realizes how, like, it just seems so effortless and smooth. I mean, it went from, like, I read this, I was like, oh my God, these people are, their life is just turned upside down. And then I'm just watching the slow trickle of, I got this, I got this, I got that. And then the next morning when I woke up and I looked, I was like, this is phenomenal. Every piece of equipment's been replaced within 24 hours. And they have a fund that's going to get them at least some kind of a vehicle to get. I mean, they have enough cash to replace a vehicle. I mean, it's not going to be the best vehicle in the world, but they're back up and running 24 hours later.
Right.
It's crazy.
That's ITF for you.
Yep.
It's
so
amazing.
We're winding down to the end of our podcast here. So the last little bit is the future of ITF. So what we have to look forward, and we have a lot of ideas. The first thing I will just talk about. So with the podcast, this is the last podcast for this season. So we're gonna, put this together. We're gonna try and get it out this Tuesday if we can. It may take a little longer because this is our super busy season, so it's a little hard to find the time. But we're going to do our best to get it out this week, hopefully by Wednesday. But then we'll take a little bit break. We're going to start season 2 in the new year. I already have a couple podcasts in the can that are ready. But I think we're going to change our name to the ITF Flowcast. And that way we can stand out. That's Kevin's idea. It's his brainchild. And I just think that's good. That way, because what we've had a problem is when people search into the flow, there's like a lot of different things that come with that. Mm-hmm. But we figure people search Flowcast. I think we're the only ones that have Flowcast. So that's going to be a lot easier for people to find us when we're recommending the
perfect
podcast.
Name right there.
So we're gonna change the graphics on and everything. We're getting that ramped up. I've got a guy working on that right now. And so starting the new year, it'll be the ITF Flowcast, and I think that'll be a little bit easier for people to find the podcast when they're looking for it. So, but what do you guys want to talk about as far as what do you see for the future? What kind of goals we have?
More, please. More of the same. More members, more positivity, more chances to help each other. And personally, I'm going to be taking some of the same kind of stewardship that Phebe mentioned earlier, and I'm going to be putting that into my community. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with this group. I want to keep building on the foundation that we have, and it's time to spread it out beyond Facebook and out into my community.
Cheers to that. I'd like to see more real, safety information going into the group. I'm excited to work with Michael Draper and to see what we can really do, because I mean, we all do things that sometimes, cause us to kind of shake our head or grit our teeth or whatever. I mean, I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of safety wise, but now that we are hiring people, I know for a fact that I'm not comfortable with my technicians doing some of the same work that I've been doing for the past 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. I mean, it's one thing for me to do it, but to expect someone else to do it is quite a different matter. So I'm looking forward to creating a partnership with some safety professionals and welcome them onto the group, and maybe look at stuff like equipment and learn a little bit more about OSHA, and just kind of make that more of a mainstream on the ITF community.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping to get us to the point where we're partnering more with IWCA and really helping to push their numbers and helping to grow them and their mission as well. But one of the things that I've been really excited about is the idea of creating local Flowmie chapters. Like, I know we live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and so you were talking about like James Smith before, and we've actually been chatting a lot with a lot of our local people. So sometimes we'll help James Smith with something, or if we need something, he can help us. Daniel Hooden is in the group. He's helped us out a couple of times. We work a lot with Jeremy Pummel. He's in the group. Like, we actually see each other, work with each other, and loan each other equipment, or come help each other. And I love that we can create the idea of creating those local chapters to help each other in person too.
Excellent. I would like to see more challenges. Like, we did a fitness challenge, and that was actually like it's like a super positive experience for me, because during the COVID stuff, I started putting on extra weight, getting a little bit more lethargic, and that really got a fire under my butt. So just like maybe more fitness challenges, but also just more ways for us to engage as a community, doing things together. I'm looking forward to that. I remember Louise came down and visited you, Gabe. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a super cool thing. It's kind of like what Sarah was saying, like, there's like chapters where we can get together, but Louise was like, I'll just go like wherever, like I'll come work with you. And I was thinking, that is like super cool. Like, I would love to meet up personally. I would love to meet up with some of y'all and just work with you guys, I know there's a wealth of knowledge that can be shared that way too. So that's like, maybe we could do like a video diary. That would be like really cool. Something like that. And also, like I said before, like the Flowcast is it's something that I thought was awesome because there's so many different unique perspectives. I ran into a window cleaner recently, and doing a little bit of traveling, and it was just like I pulled into a parking spot, and to the left was this truck, and it had like a window cleaning bucket in it, and it had like a ladder, and it was like I was going into like a pie shop, and super good pie at this place. But I walked in there and I look around, and like the guy, he didn't have a uniform on or anything. He just had like a hoodie on, and like I just knew like this is the guy. Like I just know this is the window cleaner, right? So I just walked up to him and I was like, hey man, are you a window cleaner? And he's like, yeah. And I was thinking, oh no, he thinks like like something weird's gonna happen. I was like, bro, like I'm a window cleaner too. Like I'm from Kentucky or whatever. And he was like, oh cool, nice to meet someone in the brotherhood. So like just maybe just for me personally and for the group to continue to reach out to people with unique perspectives. I would love to see more of that.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, and for me, I think more of the same, just seeing what happens next. We've talked about a few plans and things that could possibly happen, but it seems like things have organically happened and then they just blossom very, very well. So I'm kind of open-minded about it and just see how things go and what the next opportunity is and how we're going to, maybe the next person that we're going to help and, whose business can flourish, because of getting some great information or a little bit of help from, like Anthony said, a community of people that can stand behind them.
I think another thing too, we talked in the past, because of COVID and everything, we're limited to certain things that we can do as a community. And in the beginning of the year, I was planning out a charity donated service to the Children's Hospital here in Los Angeles, California. And I have talked to a lot of the window cleaners that were going to participate. I still have the contacts info, but because of COVID and all that stuff, we were shut down on that. We were not able to do it. My other thing would be with something I would love to see in the ITF would be some sort of like instructional safety type videos for like a little forum where window cleaners can come and, hey, how do I do this? Here's a little basic explanation. And then they can build their simple questions to stronger questions that will benefit them a lot more in the groups.
Something like that has actually been a topic we've had on the table for a while in ITF, is setting up a video library. And so I think that is definitely a worthy goal that we can put some energy into, and maybe even get some other members who might be able to help out with that, spread out a little bit of the work.
Just how-to videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Just simple things, just simple things that someone who is new, joins the group and maybe just been doing it a few months, they can kind of go to a library and say, okay, here's how you fan, here's how you pull, here's how you, just very kind of ABC type stuff. And then you can get to more technical things, and water fed to, even doing high rise too as well. Whatever kind of the sky's the limit. And just not anything that we're saying, hey, we're the experts on. It's just this is how it can be done. Yep. And that just it's just a free resource for people to get information rather than having a million posts of, oh, how do you get this window? How do you do this window? Now we can say, hey, check out the library. It's right there. So that's definitely a worthy pursuit. Kory, do you have something? I think you were saying something. No?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was kind of along the lines of something maybe Joel was saying. And I know that Anthony and Kevin get together once in a while and they work together. And I know Phebe has gone, he's traveled a little bit and worked with, I think he traveled up to, was it New Jersey?
Yeah.
With Chris. Go out there and work with Chris. And that was something earlier in the year I really wanted to set up a track, like in the slower times. I'm busy, extremely busy May, June, and July, but I have other time throughout the year where I could kind of manipulate my schedule to get out for like a few weeks and actually go hands-on and maybe travel around and meet some of you in person and work with you in person and kind of see a different perspective of maybe how someone else operates their business. I think that would be, and I know it's probably not feasible. It's certainly not now with COVID, traveling to different places is probably not going to fly, but and not everybody has the resources or the time to be able to do that. But for me personally, I would love at some point down the road to just take a month and abandon my family.
Notice he just stopped the sentence right there. I just want to abandon my family. I just want to have a good reason to do that.
What do they? Wife swap, husband swap,
and just kind of and set it up in advance. You know, a few days here, a few days there, and maybe work with a lot of different people and just kind of get an experience from a lot of different people on how they operate. And learning hands-on for me has always been the best way to learn. And granted, I'm stuck in my own ways in a lot of different ways. This is the way I do it. And I've had a hard time training other people because I see them do something a little bit different and it doesn't quite register with me. But I would love the experience of just kind of going around maybe 4 or 5 different people, you know, different states, different areas, and just get a hands-on experience with how you guys operate.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be great.
So I would also like to see what kind of not loggers. I mean windows. I want to see how you clean windows.
Yep.
Sorry, that got messed up.
You want to see how we clean windows. You want to see the different styles, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Dojo.
It could be like I think I had Lewis come out with me. I don't know if it was in the beginning of the year or last year where we were working this community 375 units, but he came at the moment where I was still operating with 2 pressure washers that were just sitting on top of my flatbed. Now that my truck is built, he needs to come out and come see how we operate now, how easy it is. You know, I invested thousands of dollars on this because I knew this was going to make us more productive. So things like that, you know, when we come out, I kind of want to come out. We talked, Sarah, that the way you guys run things, I said, let me come out there and I want to come out there and see how you guys operate and give you some feedback on, hey, like, you know, when you did your roofs at soft washing and all that. I just got into soft washing, but you know, we could be able to learn a lot. And if anybody wants to come drive Big Blue, I know some.
Oh boy, I'm getting out there just for that.
Come out here.
Right to Arizona again.
There you go. Yeah, I'm just like 7 hours away. I can get over there in a second.
And I'll drive him all the way down that way.
All right, guys. Well, anything else real quick before we wrap up?
Bubba still has a ticket to go visit Kevin that we had to cancel because of COVID. But Kevin, we're going to come see you as soon as COVID's over.
Let me know when you're up here. I'm only an hour and a half away. I'll come hang out.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yep, for sure. And Kory and I had talked about him coming out here too. Yeah. And then with everything, just, you know, this has just been a bad year for it. But yeah, that would be, if we get 3 people out here, we'll just kind of do a video montage of some of the stuff that we do. And
there you go.
Well, I know you promised Mike Schneider some onion rings, Kevin, so we're going to have to put this up at some point.
Yeah. As soon as Clementine's opens back up, because, you know, here in Michigan, we're shut back down. But yeah, we'll get some onion rings and we'll do a video on that too.
Sweet. So really the next big step for the group is for us to become an entity, you know, either by incorporating or becoming a nonprofit or what. I mean, we've looked at a few things, a few options. We're not quite there yet. But once we incorporate or we just become an entity, it kind of opens up a lot more, especially on the fundraising side, you know, and we had mentioned before that one of the goals we have is to be able to be where throughout the year we raise money instead of waiting until there's a need. We have a fund, and then when the need arises, boom, then we've got a you know, money that we can immediately render assistance to. And that's really our ultimate goal with the group, is to get to that point where, you know, we can help those in need immediately rather than waiting weeks, you know, to raise it and then having to do all the work. We can kind of do that. Part of it is with the ITF, you know, that we have the option of having sponsors. And then we can earn income through the podcast with that, and that can go directly into that fund, you know, and to do that.
Something that just popped into my head. I know a lot of you will modify your own tools, and what about an equipment? I'm sure everybody uses a tool at some point, and you're like, oh, if I just modified this slightly, it might make a better tool. Like maybe even a small, like brainstorming ideas for equipment ideas and tool, you know, just little things to tools that might make them a little more efficient. And then just having, I don't know if that's maybe way too
No, I've done that. On my business page, I've posted little mods that I've done to, squeegees or poles or whatever, and just, hey, this is a little something I do that helps me, helps the equipment work better. I mean, we could totally do that.
I mean, even if a small line of like into the flow equipment or little tools that we've come up with, little ideas that we bounce off each other, and then someone fabricates a tool, and if the things fly, that could be something else you do down the road is have your own.
We've kind of started that a little bit. We had the end of the flow pole that Chris and Alex made for us this year that
which is awesome, and I have and I love.
Cool. Yeah. So
I haven't used mine yet.
We've kind of done a little bit with that, and we've talked about some other things. So it's nothing's out of the realm of possibility, I don't think.
What we do need to step up though is the entity, because if we set up a merch shop, we can generate off of that. And I have a lot of ideas to get items for the Flowmies to purchase, shirts.
Well, Jimmy Jones already made up several ITF logos that are kind of different takes on our main logo. So we've got shirts that we can make. Plus, we've got other ideas that we can do. That would be something kind of inside jokes for Flowmies. That we could. So that's all in the works. But again, that's stuff that we really can't do until we become an entity. And then we have an actual either specific nonprofit or at least another corporation that would be working in that way. So. But yeah, that's in the future. But we're thinking about it. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up since we're getting a little late on the time here. But thank you, just for me personally, just sincerely, thank you all. We work so well together. You never find that, and it seems like everyone who comes in, even though we're all from different backgrounds, different personalities, it's like we all find our spot that we can work, and then we use the strengths of each person to make it go and to make it work. And that is just something rare in this world. Whether you're talking business, whether you're any type of organization, there's always friction, there's always headbutting, there's always someone who's wanting to take the lead. And it's like we just all share the work and we share the responsibility. And someone's like, I can do this time. I'm busy, I can't really do this. Can someone else handle it? Yeah, I got it. Man, it's just awesome to be a part. So I just feel very privileged to work with all you guys, all you mods, and just all the Flowmies in general. How appreciative everyone is and willing to work. It's just something special.
Right back at you.
Yep. Also, Kevin and Gabe are up for an award. For IWCA, they were both nominated. I think was it called the Fellowship Award?
Yeah.
And so, I won't
say. Are they going to do was it a freestyle battle or a dance off? Which one are they doing?
Yeah, I voted for the dance off because I'm not winning the arm wrestling contest, so I wanted the dance off.
But whoever wins it, they're both good at modifying equipment, so we can always modify the name and put Kevin in. Or vice versa.
Oh, I intend, I don't know when we're going to find out or whatever, but I'm going to have a little plaque with Kevin's name in on it. So if I happen to win, I'm sticking that right on there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
that's what I do too.
I view it as if either of us win, it's an ITF award, because what we've done is we've just organized a group. That's it. And all the good that's come from it has come from the group, not from us individually, Yep. So it's really an award for ITF if either of us win, and it's just neat that we're being recognized for that.
That's sweet, but y'all take so many, like just even listening into this podcast just today, how many times people said, oh yeah, I know I could contact Gabe. I know I could contact Kevin. They really helped me. Like y'all are doing it not just within the group, but outside of the group. The amount of time y'all have spent on private chats with people, giving of yourselves, y'all are modest people, but you're amazing people, and you should be recognized for that.
Well, that's very sweet of you to say.
Thank you.
I don't agree with it at all, but thank you so much.
I think
I will take the compliment.
Nominate both of you guys. We're gonna have to get a placard created by us, and we're gonna send you guys one.
That sounds good. We'll do that. Well, thank you guys all again, and thank you, Flowmies, for making this group so awesome as it is. Again, this is such a highly active group, even though it's like almost every member has some role in it, so we appreciate that. Thank you, and again, this is the last Into the Flow podcast. Season 2 will be the ITF Flowcast. We're looking forward to that. You guys have a great weekend. Have a great rest of this year. And we will see you in 2021, which cannot come soon enough.
Happy holidays. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Take care, everyone. Happy holidays.
See y'all later.
See you in the future.